You're listening to the Onside Podcast, the podcast for innovation-driven entrepreneurship here in Atlantic Canada. I'm your host, Alex McCann, and this is Season 2. The theme this month is equitable and innovative partnerships and deep learning. Alfred Burgesson is a social entrepreneur who has unique talents including convening leaders and an ability to launch grassroots movements while utilizing digital tools and technology platforms for good. He's a former member of the Prime Minister's Youth Council and is also the co-chair of Canada's first ever State of Youth report. Alfred has been an advisor to the Assembly of First Nations Chiefs, as well as various community organizations across Canada. He recently worked with Senator Colin Deacon as a project lead, gathering insights on the current state of Black entrepreneurs and business owners in Canada. He's also the founder and CEO of the Tribe Network, a social enterprise building Canada's BIPOC entrepreneurship and innovation hub. The Tribe Network is on a mission to improve the well-being of Black, Indigenous, people of color through entrepreneurship and innovation. Thanks, Alfred, for joining us on the podcast. Really excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me back on the podcast.
Awesome. Well, I'm really excited today to spend a little time with you. You know, we've been talking about equity and partnerships and, deep activity and learning throughout our season. And I'm really excited to hear a little bit more about the venture that you have going on now with Tribe and Tribe Network. So maybe can you share a little bit with our audience who may not know what you're up to these days? Like, what is Tribe? What's that all about?
Absolutely. So Tribe is a community and network of Black, Indigenous, people of color pursuing entrepreneurship innovation. And so we want to be a BIPOC entrepreneurship and innovation hub in Canada. Mm-hmm. This is a space where our members can, log in, connect with each other, see each other online. They can share resources with each other. So people across ecosystems, someone in Halifax as a Black or Indigenous entrepreneur can connect with someone in Vancouver, and they can share resources together. They can connect. Mm-hmm. So we have an online platform that allows for that connection to happen. We have opportunities that are posted on our opportunities portal on our platform as well. And then there's the other side of the shop where we are actually designing and implementing programming of our own for entrepreneurs. And so, there's the technology platform, and then there's the program delivery capacity building that we do as well through Tribe. Okay.
And on your programming side, or maybe it's, with the platform, they're kind of integrated, like, what's your mission here? Like, what are you trying to, you have your platform, you're coming out with new programming, you want to support BIPOC entrepreneurs. Like, what's your mission, I guess? And then maybe, I hope most listeners would know, like, why you're doing this, why this is important, but why is this important to you?
Yeah. So if you listened, and if you haven't, I would recommend listening to the previous episode that I was on where we talked about, my experience as a Black entrepreneur in the ecosystem. And what I'll say is we have a lot of business accelerators and incubators in Canada. And oftentimes when you walk into those spaces, you might not see people in there that look like you if you're Black as members, but also in their staff as well. And so with Tribe, we really want to play the role as a hub where, our team is culturally diverse, and then we're designing programs specifically for culturally diverse people. Yeah. And so, I think at a high level, that's why we're starting Tribe. We're noticing that there are a lot of gaps in the ecosystem when it comes to connectivity, when it comes to capital, when it comes to the ability for ecosystems to be integrated, I will say. And so that's why we started Tribe. I think our purpose truly is like, how do we build a community, right? How do we build a community? And, we had a great conversation about space and people having the option to be able to access a space of some sort. And so Tribe is creating that space for BIPOC folks. And I think, nurturing that community is at the foundational level of what we are doing. is creating a space where they can see each other and they can literally engage with each other and build community together. It's not up to us alone. We create the space for it, and it's a matter of our members and our partners contributing to that space what it is.
Yeah.
So community is definitely at the foundational level of our purpose. When it comes to our mission, obviously entrepreneurship and innovation is the driver here of what people do when they enter our space and how we show up for them. And I think, the vision of this thing is to create a world where BIPOC folks are at the forefront of entrepreneurship and innovation, right? The world is going through a ton of changes right now. There is an incredible amount of opportunity in entrepreneurship and innovation right now. And how do we ensure that in this community that we've created, we can start to introduce some of these new opportunities, introduce some of these new pathways for BIPOC folks.
Yeah.
And I think success for us is you have BIPOC folks that are pursuing entrepreneurship and innovation, are doing it in their way,
Right.
and are finding success not only locally but globally as well, having that global impact.
Yeah, that's such an important thing to be focused on. And we need to be mobilizing people off of the sidelines and into these opportunities and creating that space for BIPOC folks, for women, for others. I mean, our society can only be so good and only so prosperous and only have so much going on if, half of the folks, or more than half, depending on where you are not engaged, don't have the opportunity, and can't create their own path towards success.
Yeah, and I find it so interesting, in North America especially, I find that, we talk about Black and brown people as minorities, when in fact globally we're the majority.
Yes, yes.
Right?
That's why I caveated that. I was like,
Right?
Yes.
And I think that type of narrative, it will affect people's ability to see themselves as valuable. It will affect people's ability to see themselves as equal. It will affect people's ability to see themselves as having potential when you refer to them as a minority. And so I think a part of Tribe is the people we work with locally, letting them know that they are capable of having impact, not just locally but globally, and they are the majority. So
Yeah. I
embrace that.
had an experience recently. I was trying to fill out some paperwork or whatever, and I kept getting tripped up on some of these words like marginalized, minority, underrepresented, like some of these kinds of words, and they were driving me crazy because I was like, those words are true in certain contexts, but in other contexts, that is not the case, or that is not true.
Yeah.
And some of these labels, I know folks are trying to clarify the situation, but there's some weight that boxes people in when you are labeled in a certain way.
True, and I want to be open about using the acronym BIPOC and using that as a focus for Tribe. I mean, we know that Black entrepreneurs have a different experience than Indigenous entrepreneurs, than Indian entrepreneurs, than someone from South America, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I think, and so we're aware of that, and with our programming, we're aware of creating, experiences for Black entrepreneurs that are relevant, experiences for Indigenous entrepreneurs that are relevant, and I think as an organization, we're mindful of that, right? I think a lot of people are still sort of maybe not as pleased with this idea of grouping BIPOC together. And I think there's lots of value. There's a ton of value in having an organization that is focused on just Black, an organization that is focused on just Indigenous. The way that I look at it is that where we are in Canada, in North America, we're in a place that has put Black, Indigenous people of color into a so-called box. And again, what I mean by referring to people as the minority, that's a part of it. And so for me, it's when we think about power, it goes back to this whole thing around that narrative of minority. How do we reclaim it, and how do we come together and create a space, a hub where we can support each other, right? Like I think there's a ton of value in having individual groups and organizations tackle problems, and I think we should have them and we should have more of them. And I value that, I also value at the same time us coming together.
Yeah, stronger together.
And learning from each other and aligning on similar experiences, but teaching each other the different experiences that we're not so much aware of that we've had across culture. So I want to sort of lay that out as a disclaimer. Is like, I understand people are, some people can be very sensitive about the word BIPOC, for example, and I can empathize with that, and I don't think that it's absolutely relevant in every situation to clump people together like that. I value those individual organizations and groups that focus on specific cultures and groups of people, value that. But at the same time, I also value us coming together and working together.
Yeah, I like that. So I know your organization, you guys are located at Volta,
Right.
which is a tech hub here in Halifax, and you're getting your team together, speaking of diverse and all that kind of stuff. Tell us a little bit about how you're developing or bringing your team together. What's happening there?
So Tribe launched a year ago. I remember waking up in the morning and shaking in bed, thinking, am I really able to hit publish on this website right now?
Do it. Press the button.
Right? And it was something that I was working on months beforehand, but it was the moment where I was like, hey, there's no turning back. Like, I have decided that I'm going to commit to this journey for the next
however long,
likely decade. And so, it was a big moment to go live on it. And, after going live on it, I worked on bringing Tribe to life for months, for the most part alone. I mean, I had people like you to call and to be like, hey, like, what do you think of this idea?
I just gave my 2 cents. That's it.
You were super supportive. You were super supportive and super helpful, just at moments to know that someone has my back. You know what I mean? I think as an entrepreneur, it can be lonely. It can be lonely for sure. So for a few months, I was definitely alone working on building Tribe with the support of others that were pushing me from behind and definitely encouraging me to keep going. But fast forward 1 year, we've got a team of 4 full-time employees, 1 part-time, a bunch of contractors as well, helping bring Tribe to life. Our team is very diverse. We've got me, who I come from Ghana originally. I'm now a Canadian citizen. We've got Sally, who is from Malaysia originally and is now a Canadian citizen. We've got Holly from New Zealand, an Indigenous person from New Zealand who's now in Canada. We've got Lily, who was born in Nova Scotia as an African and as a Black and Indigenous person, a mixed race person. And so then we've got various people as well who are very culturally diverse on our board and supporting Tribe contract and things like that. So it's a very diverse sort of group of people. I think one thing that I'm very much mindful of right now at this stage of this company is like culture and the type of culture we build, and how do we respect and honor the different cultures that other people have, right? And so this is something that, as a team, just being super mindful about, like, allowing space for the culture to show up and inviting it to show up, and not always just expecting it to show up, but like creating the spaces where people can express, share more about their culture and lean into, for all of us to learn more about everyone's backgrounds and culture. So it's a really, really interesting time with Tribe right now, with our teams growing, like I said, and it's just very, very exciting, but challenging as well.
Yeah. New is fun. New is challenging. You're on the journey. I call it the stage where you are trying to build a bicycle, put on the pieces while you're trying to ride it and learn it, and read the instruction manual. Because as you kind of continue on. I feel like you shared a lot of things with me already about what makes Tribe unique and what you're up to here. But is there something else that you think that you're doing that's a bit unique, or maybe that you haven't seen in Canada?
Yeah, I think as a social enterprise that is both delivering programming and developing technology, one thing that we are just trying to remain focused on is like, how do you ensure that the experience of the members, like the members of our community, get as much value as possible? And I think creating this space where they can share resources with each other. Again, like, I think we're creating the space, and yes, we provide resources and content, but like, we need to really value the experience that the entrepreneurs themselves, the members have, and what they have to offer versus us always sort of being the teacher. Like, there are moments where Tribe is going to have to be the student and just listen and learn from the members, right? And I think for us, I would love to see it be a sort of a network that is very much people driven versus like Tribe, the organization, driving everything that happens, all the events that happen. You know what I mean? All the programming that happens. It's like, how can you allow the members themselves to, you know, feed information to each other and to share things that allow this network and ecosystem to thrive. And so I think there are other organizations that have members or have affiliates that are able to do that. But for us, I feel like we just need to lean into that and have the members really lead.
And I like that. I like what you're proposing there. And also, you know, there's a lot that can be learned from sort of peer learning experiences for sure. Sometimes that's the most inspiring.
Yeah.
You know, someone who's going through it at the same time as you are, or that can share their pitfalls. Don't do this, you know, or there's a better way. That can be super powerful.
Yeah.
But what are some of the programs and supports and things that you guys have going on at Tribe for your BIPOC community that you're trying to build?
Yeah. So we are partnering with a few different folks in Canada delivering programming. We're partnering with the corporate world on, you know, they're able to support programming for Black, Indigenous people of color, folks who are pursuing either a business, a not-for-profit, or just an idea. We're able to give folks startup funding, and then we're able to sort of create the conditions where they get access to mentors and coaches. That peer support, you know, that you're referring to is a huge part of some of that work. And yeah, just creating the space and the environments where the cohort can learn from each other and then learn with each other when we bring in mentors and coaches to support different phases of their businesses. So generally speaking, we have a program called the Idea Fellowship that supports Black, Indigenous people of color. And then we've got the Tribe Network Black Startup Project. And so the Black Startup Project is a program that was funded by the Government of Canada recently. And so we are super grateful to have multi-year funding and support from the federal government. Shout out to ACOA. And what that funding will allow us to do is build capacity in our team, but to focus specifically on Black entrepreneurs in Atlantic Canada. And so those who are aspiring entrepreneurs, those who have just started, you know, by registering a business, and those who are a little bit more advanced and are looking to really scale and grow, or to, you know, go raise money, for example. So those are a couple of member-specific programs we have within Tribe. We also have an opportunity for people that want to mentor and coach BIPOC entrepreneurs. We do have a mentorship program that folks can register for, and throughout that registration process, we're able to identify your skill set, your expertise, what you want to contribute, and how you want to deliver it, whether it's one-to-one, one-to-many. So we're seeking mentors as well for our entrepreneurs in our community. So if you are listening and interested in supporting an entrepreneur, you know, Tribe is the place to come. And,
a good little shout out. Got to have that little shout out.
Yeah. I mean, there are lots of people that have lots to share, right? And I think we're creating Tribe as a community so that we can introduce learning and we can introduce people that have done it before to our entrepreneurs to help them grow as well.
Yeah, I love it. We'll let people know at the end of the show how they can connect with you and learn more about Tribe. But before I get to that little juicy connection point, I do have maybe one last little question. Of course, I always have my last questions. And this one is, on side, we're focused on innovation entrepreneurship. And we're really interested in this idea around innovation-driven entrepreneurship. So I always like to ask people, what does that mean to you? What the heck is innovation-driven entrepreneurship? And is this?
Are you asking us this because you don't know what it is, or are you asking us this because
it's like a trick question? It's like, what is this that we're talking about?
Right. You're gonna take everyone's responses and you're like, okay, let's get one definition.
Yeah. We have our own, but it has actually been really interesting over the course that we've been doing this podcast to hear different people's perspectives on it and, where they're coming from and what it means. So I've actually gotten more interested in originally in the question. I was like, okay, everyone's going to answer it the same. But no, it's everyone has a different perspective. And so I'm curious what your perspective, what you think innovation-driven entrepreneurship is and where BIPOC folks can go that are interested in that.
How would I define innovation-driven entrepreneurship? Well, I think innovation on its own is the sort of concept of blending new ideas to existing ways of being or existing ways of doing business. It's not always creating something new, but it's sort of this concept of remixing something that allows more value to be developed. And so that's the way that I view innovation. Now, I think innovation-driven entrepreneurship specifically would be, if you're an entrepreneur running a barbershop, a traditional business, introducing innovation could be something like adopting technology so that your customers don't have to call you to book, but they could do it through your app. It could be so that instead of you owning a shop and people coming to you, they book through your app and you go to them.
Yes.
Right? And it's, those are things that can reduce barriers for people to use your product or service. And at the end of the day, if you reduce barriers, it allows you to create more value.
Okay, I like it.
So
I like how you broke that down. I like it. You're like, hold on a second. You're not going to trip me up. You're not tripping me up. I got it. I got to. Okay, I love it. I think that you did great with that. That was perfect. I think I'm gonna put that maybe like towards the top of our definitions there. So that was great. Well, Alfred, I've really appreciated you coming in today and chatting with me. Really, really just enjoyed hearing everything that you're up to, everything that you're doing with Tribe. Your passion for it is really coming through, and I wish you all the success. Of course, I will be there to help and cheer you on along the sidelines as any way that I can. For folks who want to learn more about Tribe or to get onto the Tribe network or to connect with you, what's the best way that folks can do that?
Yeah, so you can find me on LinkedIn and Instagram, Alfred Burgesson. Specifically with Tribe, our website is www.tribenetwork.ca. I do want to emphasize that this is a network both for individuals and organizations. So as an individual, you can sign up and sign into our platform. And as an organization, you can sign up and you can create your own tribe. And creating your own tribe means being able to nurture your community of BIPOC entrepreneurs or program participants. And so the thing that I love about Tribe is you've got members and you've got organizations, and it's almost like the more organizations that join the platform, the more value our members get. And so I would encourage organizations as well to reach out if you're interested in learning more about how you can show up on the platform and the value that the platform could bring your organization. And of course, if you're a BIPOC entrepreneur, if you're interested in pursuing entrepreneurship and innovation, Tribe Network is a place where you can tap into your peers who are also pursuing the same thing as you. So definitely encourage you to sign up and to reach out to me if you have any questions at all about Tribe Network and what we're up to.
Okay, well, that sounds great. To learn more about Onside and our podcast, first of all, please subscribe to the podcast. And you can visit our website, onsidenow.ca, to learn more about our work, especially checking out our Inclusive Innovation Monitor. I'd really like to thank Communities, Culture, and Heritage for your support. We're so grateful for your support in helping us make this podcast. So happy that you were able to join us today. Thanks, everybody, for listening, and hope you tune in next time.
This has been a Podstarter production.